Hello, welcome to The Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. This is the Age of Sigmar Stat Center, where we look at the event results that have happened all around the world this weekend. And this is a big deal if you are an Age of Sigmar fan, because this weekend has been our biggest or our largest number of players playing since January. We had 584 players playing just this week alone, across 13 events, 9 countries. We have our largest event is in Australia. Then we have 200 or so people playing in the USA. We have people playing in Germany, Poland, Canada, Greece, China, and Slovenia, as well as Czechia. So very, very cool. Germany, I think I said as well, yeah. So very fun. Now, obviously, I'm recording this intro after I've been through all of the lists. So just to let you know what you're about to see, because this is a big mammoth video. You're about to see the return of Archaon. You're about to ask yourselves, are Flesh Eater Courts too good? You're about to ask yourselves, should I collect a Soulblight Gravelord's army? You're going to ask yourself, what the hell is going on with Cruel Boys and why are they still so strong? Casual Overlords haven't dropped off as much. Sylvaneth are about to be a surprise dropping out there, which is fun. You're going to see more Scarbrands than you think. You are going to see the Hurtling Hogs as well as the Skyport Profiteers more than you necessarily thought. Skaven, if you're a new player and you picked up the Skaven tie box and that's when you joined us, you're going to be pretty pumped about this week's results, where Skaven are everywhere in a bunch of different ways to play. DOK, they return and they stay with a bunch of different ways to play. Cities are not out the meta and they have different play styles. So there's a lot to go through, which is why the video is so long. I hope you enjoy the video. Please, if you want to, support me, make a video, support me by joining Patreon. Thanks for watching, and let's get into it now. Our first event that we're going to look at this week is the Sydney Grand Tournament 2025, organized by Anthony Magro. Also got some judges, Brad Forster and Kieran Akins. Thanks very much to you. This is our first and biggest event this week. So shout out to Australia for having their biggest event, 125 people. Now, last year, don't forget, if you did attend the same event, the Sydney GT, you got a free Skaven Tide box, which is pretty spicy. So no one's mad about getting a whole free Skaven Tide box, so that's great. All right, if we go and look at the placings, you can see that the event was running a pretty normal scoring system, which is great. And because you had so many players, and because, unlike the USA, the Australians aren't that crazy, they just did 5 rounds, and you ended up with 3 undefeated players, or more importantly, 3 players who won 5 games, which is great to see. So in my opinion, they're all in first place. So shout out to David Solava with Fire Slayers, Matt Tyrrell, Soulblight Gravelords, and Mitch Bug with Neth Deepkin. So have a look at these 3 lists, shall we? Also shout out for my Fire Slayers hot pick in the tier list video. All right. David Solava has said when Mitch steps in, the credits start rolling. That's the name of his list, which is a Fire Slayer Scales of Volcatrix list with Incept and Recover and Restless Energy, also called that, will be so common. We've got Auric Runefather on Magmadroth, Scourgy Grand Auric Runeson on Magmadroth, so a soggy Runeson, and then 2 more soggy Runesons, a reinforced unit of Auric Hearthguard Berserkers with Berserker Broadaxes, and a Rune Master, and then also a Rune Smiter on Magmadroth. So it does take you to 5 Magmadroths, I think, in total running around the board. I expect Fire Slayers to be solid for the next 3 to 6 months. So if you were ever interested in picking up the little ginger fellas, that's the plan. Rumors are Fire Slayers a bit of a question mark at the moment. There's questions around whether Fire Slayers will stay as an army. There were some really dodgy rumors that occurred. But the most up-to-date rumors are that not only are Fire Slayers getting into a combined Dwarven book, there may be new Dwarven models on the horizon, which seems crazy, having just had the Hellsmiths of Ashur. So that's cool to see as well. Either way, I expect us to see more Fire Slayers. Not more Fire Slayers, but Fire Slayers keep doing well from the people who have the collections. I don't think people pick them up. We'll see. All right, then we've got Matt Tyrrell. It's great to see Matt back playing. I don't know if he's been playing loads, but Matt's a great player. He's playing Soulblight Gravelords, Back in All of Blood, and he's running Incept and Recover and Master the Paths. And then he has Vordry, which for some reason got cheaper, Blood Knights, White King of Steel Little Steeds, some Barrow Knights, which I think are a great choice, Lukavai, very popular at the moment, a Terragoost, and then a Vampire Lord as well with the Lash of the Sire. So this is such a solid, fast, outputty army that can take a hit and it can take over elements of the board. It's going to continue to do well as well. Soulblight Gravelords, as I said, is going to just be in that like very competitive tier, so strong tier. So yeah, just super good. And also, it doesn't just have to be this list. There's lots of little like cheeky. I think the like the Luke I pick is cheeky Terrorgeist. You don't normally see that all the time. So absolutely going to see more of those as we go through the next 3 months. Mitch Bug was running a list called, look, fellas, let's be reasonable. This is not the time or the place to perform some kind of half-assed autopsy on a fish. And I'm not going to stand here and see that thing cut open and see that little Tinter boy spill out all over the dock. It's a Jaws reference. And the Deepkin Aether Sea Predators list with Scouting Force and Master of the Paths with Mathella, Oracle of the Abyss, then 1, 2, 3, 4 Alapexes, then an Eidolon of Mathlan, an Eidolon of Mathlan aspect to the sea, and then 2 reinforced units of Morsar Guard and a Tidecaster. So the points increase on the Alapex hasn't had much of an impact. Now, let's talk about the production meta. I think it's worth talking about, especially with the Australians, because how much their Warhammer cost is pretty crazy. With only the update only happening, last week, a week before, a week and a half ago, whatever it was, many people won't have had time to build and paint maybe different units that they're planning on taking. So maybe they just kind of moved their lists around a little bit. But this is a list that was doing well previously and is a list that's doing well still. And it's a list that's going to continue to do well. Just before we look at the rest of the results for the rest of this week, I expect to see the evolving meta happen over the next couple of weeks versus this weekend of tons of results is really going to identify where the shape of the game is. But it's going to start to give us some indication. And that's great to see. Also, Mitch is a great player. Hope everyone had a good time. Looking at the 4-1s, and there are a lot of them, so strap in. So our first 4-1, there's a lot of 4-1s. In fact, actually, let's just quickly go through the list so you can see what I'm talking about. If we take it in kind of like a big, like wider shot, we've got Flesh Eater Courts, Ogre Tribes, Fyreslayer, Cities of Sigmar, Skaven, Deepkin, Soulblight, Ogres, which is a surprise to me, Soulblight Gravelords, Flesh Eater Courts, Lumineth Realm Lords, Blades of Khorne, Bone Reapers, Skaven, Fyreslayers, Skaven, Bone Reapers, Soulblight Gravelords, Gits, all in there. Now, I said that I thought the Soulblight Gravelords would end up doing super well in here. Gits, we've also got some more Gits coming up over the course of the course of this show, and I expect to see more Gits in the future as people finally build and paint their Sunstealer Wheeler units and put them on the board. So Bone Reapers, I'm not surprised to see up here. Skaven, Fyreslayers, Khorne is just a shocking one to me. I'm very surprised by that. So that's out there, and I also think the Ogre one is out there. But Deepkin, Skaven, Cities, no KO. Now, I just be really clear. I don't think this means KO is dead. But as I said previously, what happens is people just choose different armies. If they think something's nerfed, they'll just move around, okay? Okay, let's go look at all of the list, shall we, and see what's been popping off. So our first 4-1 is Mitchell Hines with Sid GT 2025. That's the name of the list, which is a Flesh Eater Courts Nightly Echelon with Restless Energy, Intercept, and Recover. Then we got Usharan, 2 reinforced units of Crypt Horrors, Crypt Guard Royal Beast Flayers, then that Abhorrent Ghoul King Royal Terrorgeist, which is so good. The Abhorrent Cardinal, Royal Decapitate, and Charnel Throne. Missing from this list is the soggy... oh, God. Come on, Rob. You're good at this. Soggy fella. The other guy, Gore Warden. The soggy Gore Warden. Missing from this. But I think that we're still going to see Flesh Eater Courts operating around that kind of A tier of combat ability, because ultimately they're able to hold the mid-board really, really well, and they can fight super well. And Usharan's just excellent. So... then we've got Christian Bug running a list called In Other News, the Prime Minister of Sweden visited today In other news, the Prime Minister of Sweden visited today and my tiny little nipples went to France. The White House reception committee greeted the Prime Rib Host Minister and I do the cha-cha I like to do cha-cha. This is Christian Bug running an Ogre Tribes list of the Morpath Menaces, running Restless Energy, Intercept, and Recover. He had a Butcher, Iron Guts, 2 units of Gluttons, all of those were reinforced, and then Slaughtermaster and a Gorger Morpack. This is surprising to me, really surprising, although they kind of have a similar vibe to what you see going on with the bigger Flesh Eater Courts units, but they don't necessarily have that support for them, so... There we go. I'm surprised by this. This one, Christian has surprised me with this, so well done to him. Adrian Croft was running a list called Go-Go Fire Slayers, which was a Fire Slayer scale of Volcatrix list with Inceptor and Cover and Restless Energy, with an Auric Rune Father on Magmadroth, a Scourge of Garan Auric Rune Son on Magmadroth, then a Auric Rune Smiter, Reinforced Unit Hearthguard, then a Rune Smiter on Magmadroth, and then 2 more Soggy Rune Sons on Magmadroths. So Fire Slayers are just at the top of the barrel right now. They're an army to beat. John Harter was running a list called Full Send with Gunther and Friends, which was a Cities of Sigmar Dawnbringer Crusade battle formation with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths, with Talia Vedra, I'm going to sit down for this, a Steam Tank Commander, Callus and Toll, a Free Guild Cavalier Marshal, a soggy unit of Free Guild Cavaliers that were reinforced, and then a soggy unit of Cavaliers that were not reinforced, and then a Free Guild Marshal on Griffin, and then a Kraken Eater Mega Gargant. No cannons, just living his best life. He has a name for each one of his units. He hit the 4-1. This is about as big a win as anyone can get, in my opinion. So congratulations to Jordan. Then we've got James Anderson running a list called Adeptus Scryer, Clans Guitari, which was a Warpcog Convocation battle formation with Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy, an Orch Warlock, some Acolyte Globadiers, 20 Clan Rats, 3 Rattling Guns, 6 Storm Fiends, a Vermin Lord Warpseer, a Galvanier, Warp Lightning Cannon, and then some Warp Vault Scourges that were reinforced, which is 360 points, a crazy price, right? As well. So just all of the guns, all of the time. And then obviously a little bit of a screen in the Clan Rats and a big unit of Storm Fiends for fighting. So unbelievable. Congratulations. That's a lot of shooting. Then Zach was running a Eidethikin Aethersea Predators list called, I originally had a great list name that included a Fantastic Four meme, but now that I can no longer run 4 sharks in the list, it doesn't really make sense to call it that. So I guess we'll call it Surfs Up or something lame and uninspired. So, thank you, Zach. Running a Master Pass and Scouting Force is his battle tactics. Then Mathella, Oracle of the Abyss. Then an Achillean King. 3 Alapexes, missing that 4th one, obviously. An Eidolon Mathlan, Aspect of the Sea. A Leviathan. And a reinforced unit of Morsar Guard. So Deepkin finally coming in strong. I think this is a mixture of people finally playing the new book and also, obviously, some updates after the Battlescroll. Then we've got Brooke Mills with a list called Empire of the Vampire with a Soulblight Gravelord's Blood Diovic list with Scouting Force and Restless Energy, with Prince Vortri, 2 units of Skirgan Tree Blades and some Vargeist, and then a Vampire Lord of Nightmare Steeds with 2 units of Blood Knights, and then a Soggy Sekir, and then 2 units of Death Rattle Skeletons. So that looked fun. I mean, number one, that looked fantastic on the board. I think Vordry feeling like he's getting more and more like an auto pick with the points reduction. Maybe they didn't sell enough of him. Who knows? Not that I think that's the reason they changed the points, but still. Then you got Blood Knights running around, which obviously key off that as well. Then the Varghese, True Blades, and Death Rattle Skeletons is giving kind of an MSU vibe. But again, Soulblight Gravelords has got such a wide book, it could just play so well. Then we got Tom Jasmik running a list called Fine Dining, which is another ogre list. This is really shocking me, to be honest. Intercept and Recover and Scouting Force with Butcher, Unit of Noblars, 2 units of Iron Guts, Lead Belchers, a Slaughtermaster, 2 Gorgemore packs, and a unit of Iron Guts. So MSU ogres, pretty much, with 1 big hammer unit of Iron Guts, is crazy. Doing so well. That's an amazing run from Tom. Congratulations. That's great. Then Joe Hennessy is running a list called Sorry for My Play. I borrowed this list from a friend, and I'm here for a good time. Going 4-1. He's running a Soulblight Gravelord's Black Cornel of Blood list with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths, with Neferata, some reinforced unit of Barrow Knights, a Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, a Vampire Lord, 2 units of Death Rattle Skeletons, and then the Vengo Lord, a Vengorian Lord versus just straight up Luke of I. Listen, Soulblight Gravelords, that's the real question. Are they on top? Is it Fire Slayers and Soulblight is the new meta? And who would have thought? And then we've got Jonathan Oakley running a list called Ryforth My Pretties, which is a Flesh Eater Courts Royal Menagerie list with Usharan, 2 reinforced units of Crypt Guard, an Abhorrent Gold King Royal Zombie Dragon, 2 Royal Terrorgeist, an Abhorrent Cardinal, and the High Falconer Felgrin as well. So a bunch of big monsters you can push up the middle of the board very aggressively. Crypt Guard for supporting those units and holding objectives. Daniel Hay was running a list called, I'm here to prove that I am the cringiest elf enjoyer of the Eastern Seaboard. I've claimed my title in Southeast Queensland, now to spread the word, good word to New South Wales. And yes, I've been holding my breath since I crossed the border. some inter-region hatred there being performed by Daniel. Running a Lumineth Realm Lord Scenari Council list with Restless Energy and Incept and Recover. Now, an Enlightener, some River Blades, Eleanor and Elithor, and some Blade Lords. And then the Soggy, like Voltharion, Reinforced Unit Sentinels, River Blades, Shrine Luminor, and the Saviors of Cinderfall. So these are my hot pick for doing very well this season, and we'll have to see if that continues on. Shout out to Dan. And then Admiral John Mundane Man was running a list, a Blades of Corn list, which is blowing my mind, called Two Tone, running the Master of the Past and Rustful cycles with a Bloodmaster, Reinforced Unit of Bloodletters, Small Unit of Bloodletters, and a Skull Taker. Then a Slaughter Priest, 2 units of Blood Warriors, Claws of Karanak, then Karanak themselves, Flesh Hounds, and then a Wrath of Corn Bloodthirster with Argath King of Blades and Frenzy Taskmaster. This is surprising to me. I thought if we were going to see Blood Warriors, we would see condensed units of Blood Warriors mixed up together. I definitely did not expect to be seeing Bloodletters or a Bloodmaster at all on the tabletop, especially doing this well. So it's a fantastic result from Admiral John. Should be super proud. Jasper Rowley was running a list called Wait, This Isn't KO, which is an OCR Bone Reapers list, running the Tithe Guards battle formation. He had Attuned Garan and Master Pass with Xantos, a Harvester, Reinforced Death Riders, Necropolis Stalkers that reinforced, Tetratic Cohort, and then the Soggy Mortars and Bone Shaper, the Gothazar Harvester, and 2 units of Mortek Guard. And then the Mortars and Soul Mason. Wow, this is not what anyone was expecting to see from any of the OCR Bone Reaper lists. This is very surprising. Mortek Guard, not what you're expecting. The Gothazar Harvester ×2. The Death Riders, obviously super fast, or even the Stalkers. But actually, some of the points on the Stalkers are cheap. They are rubbish also. You get a lot of good save, recursive dudes, which is pretty impressive. So shout out to Jasper. That's super exciting. OCR Bone Reapers. We should have a look deeper at that because that's a surprising result. Then Tay Simon was running a list called Sewer Rats, the Night of Gnawing, which is a Skaven gathering of the clans list with Restless Energy and Scouting Force, with a Soggy, Greyseal, and Screamer Bell, Clan Rats, Rat Ogres, and then a Soggy Garan Brood Terror, with a Warlock Bombardier, some Doom Flayers, and Jezzails. Yeah. I mean, these double Rat Ogres, still the Soggy Screaming Bell. Jezzails have become super popular recently, and I think they'll continue to be so. So I think Skaven are in a solid spot. Ben Leakvet was running a list called Slap Daddy and Sons, which is a Fireslayer Scales of Volcatrix list with a ton of Magmadroths, Doomseeker, and then some more Magmadroths as well. I think at this point, we'll just say a bunch of Magmadroths and some stuff. That's great, Ben. You did fantastic. Bruce Fan was running a list called If You're Reading This, I Hope I Dodged You. Nice. Which is a Skaven Fleshmeld Menagerie list with Master Pass and Attuned Garan, running Visit Scour, Rat Ogres, Reinforced Unit of which was reinforced, a Soggy Brood Terror, Storm Fiends, Warpfire Throwers, and a Soggy Screaming Bell, Doomwheel, Plague Pack, Warpfire Throwers. Again, lots of MSU, loads of small little units doing little jobs. And not even a reinforced unit of Storm Fiends. Vizic, I don't even know what Vizic combo's in here. This is great. Maybe into the Rat Ogres? Maybe the Storm Fiends? I guess they're both infantry, right? So prayer works on them. Okay, that's cool. Very fun. Then Zach Sindelar was running a list called Time to Pay the Bone Tither, which was an OCR Bone Reapers list with Restless Energy and Master Paths, with a Mortars and Soul Mason and a reinforced unit and Acropolis Stalkers. Then Scourge of Garan, Mortars and Bone Shaper, a Gothazar Harvester and Mortek Guard, and then a Mortars and Ossifector, Gothazar Harvester, Mortek Crawler, and another unit of Mortek Guard, and then a Mortars and Soul Reaper, and another unit of Stalkers. So double reinforced Stalkers, double reinforced Guard, double Harvester. Are we seeing a new build for OCR Bone Reapers? Did people just remember that OCR Bone Reapers existed as an army? There we go. maybe we're going to see these on the rise. That is a very exciting turnaround, which I'm very excited to see. Then Brad Von Doren was running a list called Who Says Trogs and Squigs Can't Be Friends? Or maybe one day even more than friends. All in capitals, as a true Gits player should write their lists. Running a Gloomspite Gits Squiggalanch army with a Squig boss with Nasher Squig, 2 reinforced units of Boingrot Bounders, a Gobblepalooza, and then a Soggy Sports Splatter Fanatics. And then a Dankhold Trog boss, a reinforced unit of Rot Guts, a small unit of Rot Guts, and then a reinforced unit of Sun Stealer Wheelers. Now, my hot pick is these Sun Stealer Wheelers are going to have a massive impact on the meta once you build and paint more of them. And I'm sure we're also going to see an additional 4-1 with the Sun Stealer Wheelers already for this army. I did say this is going to be a hot pick army to play. Did put it in that very surprising tier. Considering they're at the bottom of the barrel before the points update that we got last week, I would say that even getting a 4-1 now is pretty exciting. If we consistently see 4-1s, and we consistently see this unit making it happen, I think we should talk about that in the future. Decky Johnson was running a list called Undying Honor, which is Soulblight Gravelord's Battle of Blood list with Masters of Battle and Restless Energy, 4 Dry, Nightmare Steed, Vampire Lord, Nightmare Steed, and then Reinforced Blood Knights, and then a Vengo Lord, and then a Vampire Lord, and 3 Fellbats. So that is our second to last list. And our last list is Chris Comerford with a list called Squigtober and your fabulous Trogoids, which is a Squiggalanch Gloomspite Gits list with Scragrot, Boingrot Bounders that are reinforced, Dankhold Trogoth, Loon Boss and Giant Cave Squig, a Squig Herd, Drogs the Sun Chomper, Reinforced Boingrots, small unit of Rot Guts, and then the Regiment of Renown. This is really surprising. Regiment of Renown, the Orient Scions, which is a Myrmidon, a Thermitage, and a small unit of Therodons. So if we just take a moment to kind of like recontextualize these lists and look at what we saw do well just this week at this big GT, we have Fyreslayers, Soulblight Gravelords, both featuring very heavily. Deepkin popping off as well. Skaven. Ogres feels like it's a standout, but if we see that theme continue over the next few weeks, then I'm willing to call that I was wrong. A different vibe on cities is really interesting. And then a couple of OCR Bone Reapers, which seem similar, and then our one standout LRL and Blades of Corn, as well as multiple examples of Skaven and Squigs, really start to take shape with a different game to what we even saw a week and a half ago. Week and a half ago, we'd be going into this saying things like, okay, we're going to see KO, we're going to see cities, we know what the lists are. Already everything's a little bit different. Now, some of these lists, like with the Fyreslayers as an example, Deepkin and I guess FEC were kind of starting to take shape already, especially the Fyreslayers one. But some of the others are a bit of a surprise. So we'll see if that continues for all the other events this week, but also over the next few weeks. This is the start of us working out what we're going to be seeing. And I'm really excited about it because it seems diverse. It seems pretty open. It seems pretty like loot shooting light, which I think is interesting as well. So let's see if that theme continues. Okay, our next event is the LVO, or the Las Vegas Open, which is normally one of our biggest events in the year. But Las Vegas Open normally happens in at the end of January, beginning of February, and now has moved, or has just moved for a bit. I don't really know what the full plan is, to October, maybe to coincide with the Warhammer Championships that happen in a couple of months. I don't know why they decided to, but either way, it created their numbers. But here we are. That means that we do end up with 118 people battling it out at the Las Vegas Open, organized by some of the best people to organize events: Gareth Thomas, Jake Jacobson, Madigan Mason, and Nick True, all great human beings. So great tournament organizers. They're not the same people as the tournament owners who dictate the times. I just want to be really clear about that. Okay. Because it was a big event, and because Americans love doing this, they do a top cut. So what happens is you play 5 rounds. I'm going to hope it's that. I'm pretty certain it is. You play 5 rounds, and then the people who do the best, they go into a top 8 cut, which has a lot of cinema and drama to it. It was live streamed on a YouTube channel called The Hobby Collab, if you want to go watch it. So shout out to them. Thanks for doing that. And you go watch some of the games back, which is very cool. And, pretty much the top 8 bracket is a who's who of playing really well. And there's also some really exciting lists in the 4-1 section. So we'll go look at that as well. However, shout out to Yeah, top 8 cut does make Age of Sigmar more like Magic the Gathering, which is probably why they do it. Looking at our top result is Cruel Boys, run by Gavin. Now, obviously, a lot of people would have been very upset about the points slam that happened to Cruel Boys, but turns out it wasn't too much of an issue. Gavin's list is called Nerf Cruel Boys Again. Gavin is still playing them. Which is him talking in the third person. Incredible. He was running Swamp Horde Bullies, the battle formation, and the Master Pass and Scouting Force, just to mess with me. And then he's got a Killer Boss and Great Nashtooth, 2 Reinforced Unit of Gut Rippers, a Marshcrawler Sluggoth, and then a Merc Knob with Belcher Banner, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Cruel Boys Monster Killers, Swamp Caller Shaman, Potgrot, and Manskewer Bolt Boys. Now I feel pretty comfortable with my call that Cruel Boys were still going to be in that competing faction up at the top. So I'm pretty happy with that. In the final, he made all 5 monsters fight last on the Gargant's go turn. That's pretty amazing. So shout out to Gavin. That's fantastic. That's a great result. And it really showcases that Cruel Boys are still very playable, especially with Strike Last stuff, especially into big hammer units, which is what's being discussed there. So a great result. It really showcases, I mean, he's unarguably one of the best performing players Age of Sigmar's ever had, if not with only Tom Guan being his contemporary. So congratulations, great result. So looking at everyone inside the bracket, so these are people who won all of their first 5 games and then went on to play even more games. So, you know, a massive congratulations to all these players. So Michael Sabetti was running a list called Biggest Piggers Strikes Back, which is a Sons of Behemoth Taker Tribe list with Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy, with Kragnos, a Gatebreaker and a War Stomper, and then the Regiment of Renown, the Hurtling Hogs, with a Tusk Boss or more Grunter and some more Grunter Gougers. I think they would have hated going into a bunch of monster killers at the top end there, but this is a very aggro list. Very cool to see. Then you got Aaron was running a list called the Celia Special, which was a Zogrox Ironmonger's Army of Renown, which was running Wrathful Cycles and Tune to Garan with Zogrox, Tunes of Our Boys, a unit of Brutes, and Our Boy Big Boss, Reinforced Unit of Our Boys, Tunes of Our Boys, a War Chanter, a Weird Knob, Shaman. So you get those 5-up ward saves for these guys. You also, with the big bosses, get quite a good amount of mortal damage in combat. Very few people have taken what I think is a very strong Army of Renown out to events. Shout out to Aaron for doing so. Maybe it'll inspire more people. Then we've got Ian McLeese running a list called TKO, which is Character and Overlords, Engineer Guild's Expeditionary Force list with Master Paths and Restless Energy, running Trekkie Flint, an Arcanaut Frigate, a unit of Thunderers, 2 units of Sky Wardens that were reinforced, a Code Right, 2 units of Volgrim Salvages, an Aether Chemist, an Arcanaut Company, Gunstruck Gun Hauler, and then a Vongrim Harpoon Crew. So again, if you're a KO player, it's important to point out these went undefeated and then went into a upper bracket. KO with the new points reduction, Cruel Boys with the points reduction, still good. Just to point that out there. Then we've got Alec Jerome running Blades of Khorne with Bloodbound Warhorde, with Attune to Grand Wrathful Cycles, Scarblood Wrath, 4 units of Wrathmongers, Herald of Khorne Blood Throne, Karanak, a Realm Gore Ritualist, 2 reinforced units of Blood Reavers and a small unit of Blood Reavers, a Blood Secretor, and then a reinforced unit of Blood Warriors. And this is super surprising to me. Very surprising to see this. Like, the MSU build makes a lot of sense. So you can tie into your key battle traits on how Khorne works. So MSU standing for multiple small units. Then a unit dies, you get Blood Tithe. You kill a unit, you get Blood Tithe. That all feels very positive. I just don't really see how it does all of it, but maybe it's layered, and I guess if you're playing it really well, it works really well. So that's great work, Alec. That's fantastic. Michael Bernstein was running a list called The Final Crank Croak Master Cast featuring the KO Kids. Great name. Running a Seraphon Sunclaw Starhost list with Master Pass, Intercept, and Recover, with Croak, Reinforced Unit of Lancers, an Archosotek, Reinforced Unit of Croxigor, the Sunblood Pack, and then the Skyport Profiteers Regiment of Renown. So, Seraphon, an army I do not think can do very well. This is a fantastic result for Michael, especially bringing KO, bringing Croak back. Is this the play? Is this the way to do it? Spend 320 points, of your army and bring KO in. Incredible stuff. Then we got Leo Ratunen, one of my favorite people, running a list called I Know It's Delusional, but Big Pigs Need to Feed Too. James Workshop. Make war work on monster companion weapons, and I'll play them at WCW. Justice for bacon and cabbage. Everyone's list names are getting very good. Anyway, running Stormcast Eternals, Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels with Master Paths and Restless Energy. With a soggy Iridan the Witness. Yes. Prosecutors, Reinforced, and then Vanguard Paladors. And then Lord Relictor, Vigilers, Knight Judicator with Gryphounds, Quest of Soul Sworn, Knight Judicator with Gryphounds, Guard of Steel Soul, the Stormreach Portal. I think what's good about this, especially as I understand, I've spoken to Leo a lot, and as a gamer, I really like the way he plays. But I know the application resources that you can bring to this entire army, thanks to the Stormreach Portal, is just absolutely huge. And multiple units that can just go grab objectives. Whew. Fantastic. I love to see it. Iridan the Witness has been my hot call and has been very, very popular. And I did say during my tier list that we're going to see Iridans and we're going to see Vanguard Paladors as well, Prosecutors as well. The one pick that's definitely not mine and really came out of left field, but is so popular, is the Knight Judicator with Gryphounds. It's just super efficient for its points, and here you can see 2 of them in the list. This has never been something that's really struck me as being smart, but other players than me have picked this up and have run with it. It's been super, super good. So that's great to see. And then Noah, let's go. Joanne Noah Singh, running a list called Look How They Massacred My Boy, which is a Flesh Eater Courts, the Royal Hunt list with Master Pass and Scouting Force, with a Ghoul King, a Crypt Haunter Courtier, a reinforced unit of Crypt Horrors, a small unit of Crypt Horrors, and then Crypt Guard that reinforce. Then a Boarant Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, 2 units of Crypt Ghouls, some Crypt Guard, Grand Justice Gourmet, and a Charnel Throne. So this is actually pretty interesting. Making all those damage to ghouls pop off is hard to play, especially as you start playing 5 rounds. You then have to play another 4 rounds. That's a lot of holy wins and maintaining, but that's a fantastic result from Noah, a former LVO winner. So that's great, and I'm sure he would have been celebrated Gavin's win as well. Hope everyone had fun in the top cut. We're going to look at some selected lists from the 4-1 bracket. If we go through and we look at the 4-1 bracket, we have Slaves to Darkness, Disciples of Tzeentch, Maggot Kin, Flesh Eater Courts, Sylvaneth, OCR Bone Reapers, Cruel Boys, LRL, Slaves to Darkness, LRL, Hedonites of Slanesh, Cities of Sigmar, Sylvaneth, all in that bracket. But I'm going to pick some lists out now because we don't need to, keep going over what we're going to see from Cruel Boys as an example. But we're going to pick out some of the lists and have a look at them. All right, so these are some of the lists that I've picked out, but a special shout out to everyone who went 4-1 at the event as well. So first one, we're going to look at Slaves to Darkness by Benjamin Ogsthorpe because Slaves to Darkness have been missing a lot in the kind of 4-1, 5-0 section over the past year. So this is a list called Slaves to Darkness, but only the Slaves, with Master Paths and Scouting Force. We have a Dark Oath Horde army with a Chieftain, a reinforced unit of Fell Riders, a small unit of Fell Riders, a reinforced unit of Marauders, a unit of Savages, a War Queen, a Chieftain, a reinforced unit of Marauders, a reinforced unit of Marauders, Gunner Brand, and a Dark Oath Wilder Fiend, and then a Chieftain, a Wilder Fiend, and a Mind Stealer Phalanx that have all been put into the list. So what I think is interesting about this is kind of our third time we've started to see the Dark Oath Horde, multiple bodies put on the board as a kind of win condition, which I think is kind of cool. Actually, worth noting, if you look at the top 8 bracket from this exact event, 6 of the 8 lists had a lot of bodies on the board, like a lot, which I think was always one of the strengths of both KO, Cities and also Cruel Boys, in that they just had a lot of units and they had a lot of models. And I think KO also had a lot of units as well, but they necessarily didn't have a lot of models. So I think this is a potential win path for Slaves to Darkness. We also had another Slaves to Darkness list as well, which went the opposite route, called Scarbrand Sentenced to Community Service, which was a Slaves to Darkness Champions of Chaos list with Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy, with Archeon, Chaos Lord and Demonic Mount, a reinforced unit Chaos Knights, a Raptorix, and then the Regiment Renowned, the Exiled one, was Scarbrand. So Scarbrand and Archeon running together in a big monster smash pile. I think will get a lot of people excited because that's an incredibly fun list to move about, which I think people will be, kind of pumped about. So that's cool. And the two different ways to run Slaves of Darkness are very different to what we've seen in the past. Then we got Dalton Kale, and he was running a Disciples Inch Weird Flame host list with Restless Energy and Scouting Force. And like I said, kind of on the tier list show, I think there is a win path for Disciples of Zinch, but it's very much geared around Zangor, and look what we've got. We've got Kairos, Screamers of Zinch, then we've got a Zangor Shaman, 2 reinforced units of Zangors, and then a Magister on Disc of Zinch, a Scourgy Karan, Ogroid Thermitage, and then Zangor Enlightened on Disc of Zinch, which is quite a cheap unit now, 280 points, and then a unit of Skyfires. So that is a lot of combat that you can put on the board. There's some shooting here as well, obviously. There's a lot of bodies you can stick on the board, and Kairos to help you with your battle tactics. So I think you're in a pretty good spot there. I think that's a very good list, and I think you can see DOT go well with that, but I don't know if anyone wants to put that many Zangor together. Then Austin was running a list called Rotti, which is Magican and Nurgle Plague System Army with Interceptor, Recover, and Restless Energy, with a Scourgy Grand Rotigus, a reinforced unit of Blight Kings, Harbinger of Decay, Lord of Plagues, and Putrid Blight Kings reinforced. And then a Lord of Blights, Harbinger of Decay, and then the Regiment Renowned, the God's Mark Ascendant. So with Rotigus, will Rotigus make a return, and also will Nurgle make a return with kind of the points changes and also maybe some of their natural predators coming out of the meta? I'm not 100% certain right now. I think this might be like a blip on the radar, but, you know, pushed it all forward and did well, so that's great for Austin. And also a good thing for Magic and Nurgle players. Then we've got Ethan Leon, who was running a list called, oh yeah, well, we can all just fight each other here, have sides, I don't care anymore, which is a Sylvaneth Wargrover the Burgeoning list with Restless Energy and Master of the Paths with Scourgy Garan, Drycha, then Kurnoth Hunters with Scythes, then the Soggy Revenant Seekers, the Twistwell and the Tree Revenants, Branch Witch, Belthanos, and a Warsong Revenant. So going away from using a Lariel and committing to having more units that can be much faster and much punchier, thanks to Belthanos and obviously the speed of the Seekers, means that you can really start to commit. And the Soggy Drycha is genuinely a legit unit that can see play at the moment. So I think Sylvaneth list will look more like this, which is interesting because if we also talk about the fantastic Thomas Ling, who's got a list called Charge Me Bro, he's running a Sylvaneth Wargrover the Everdusk army with Restless Energy and Scouting Force, got Lady of Vines and some Tree Revs, Belthanos, and a smaller unit of Soggy Revenant Seekers. There's Spirit Earthu, Kurnoth Hunters with Great Bows, Branch Witch, Spite Revs, a Soggy Drycha as well, and some Spite Revs. So again, moving away from a Lariel and deciding that you can go for this kind of more MSU combat build that's very fast. What's interesting is I don't think that necessarily a Lariel and the Monster Mash is off the list. It's not like off the option. So you maybe got a couple of ways to play, which I think could be is very, very exciting. So that's cool. So I think Sylvaneth, as I've said, I think they're up there. They're kind of a sleeper pick and they're fun to play. You got Carl Ong running a list called OBR Oosh is Back, which is Osiot Bone Reapers running Hekatos Drill Masters with Restless Energy and Wrathful Cycles, with a Soul Mason, a Gothazar Harvester, a Mortis Guard, and a reinforced unit of Morgas Archai, and then a Soggy Mortet Guard, a Soul Reaper, and then the Regiment Renowned, the Summer King's Entourage running. So we got the Entourage in there with Ushran, Crypt Guard, and the Morbeg Knights. What's interesting is this is a move away from running lots of Archai and instead committing a little bit to having a Harvester and also the Mortet Guard, although not as many as we've seen previously. But OBR on the rise, and they are back. John Addison was running a list called Many Gets Wish Death Upon Me, which is an LRL Alareth Temple list with Scouting Force and Wrathful Cycles with Eleanor and Elithor, 2 reinforced units of Stone Guard, a small unit of Stone Guard, an Enlightener, some River Blades, and then a Soggy Light of Altharian, River Blades, and then the Regiment Renowned, the Skyport's Profiteers, popping off on a 4-1. So obviously with those reductions in points, Stone Guard, are they good enough to see play? Or are they going to have to keep relying on those Venari units? Interesting as well, the 2 LRL lists we've seen so far haven't included any Wind Spirits, which I maybe would have expected to see, but we'll see if that pans out in the next few weeks. Jared Brown was running a list called Welcome to Heesh & Sons Moving Company, the perfect aesthetic for meets profit-driven function, which is an LRL Scenario Council list. This is our other version with Intercept and Recover and Scout Force with Eleanor and Elithor, the Soggy Light of Artharian, the Wardens and the Riverblades, the Enlightener, the more Wardens, more Riverblades, the Law Seeker, and again, the Regiment Renown, the Skyport's Profiteers. So the real question you've got to ask yourselves is, can the LRL list or some of these other lists actually do better without having the Profiteers in? Are the Profiteers just so good that they're just worth taking at 320 points? And as we move into the next few months, is the same going to be true of the Hellsmiths of Ashut Regiment of Renown, which brings shooting to Chaos armies? Are we going to see very different Chaos armies because they now have access to bringing shooting with them? We'll have to see. Lastly, I just wanted to shout out Christopher Hernandez running a 4-1 Hedonites of Sinesh list with Nothing Exceeds Like Success, XS as a list name, with Restless Energy and Master the Paths, with Glutos, Reinforced Unit of Blitzbarb Archers, a Unit of Blitzbarb Seekers, a Scourge Garan, a Slangor Fiend Bloods that were reinforced, and then Sigvald, and then the Lord of Pain, and then 3 units of Twin Souls with one of them being reinforced. And does this mean that Sinesh has play? This is now a consistent combination of Glutos plus Twin Souls winning games. And I think that's something we can't really ignore anymore. So I think Sinesh are in that competitive bracket now. They're not necessarily in the 4-1-5-0 bracket, but I think they're in the 3-2-4-1 bracket. Anyway, a special shout out to the organizers for always running great events. I hope they had a great time. And I hope everyone at the GT had fun. Loads of love to you. Let's look at the next event. Our next event is still in the USA. I think there are over 200 people were playing Warhammer in the USA this weekend, or Age of Sigmar specifically. For the Michigan GT. Great event every year. You get a chance to go. It's in Michigan, obviously, in Lansing at the Lansing Center. And the Age of Sigmar event was organized by Jeff Campbell Crawley. So congrats to Jeff and shout out to Jeff. So we have 2 5-0s at this event, Skaven and Fireslayers, run by Gabriel Cabal and Michael Rausch. So we have Skaven and Fireslayers that are undefeated. So if we look at Gabriel Koba's list, he's got a list called Adaptive Mechanical Martian Rats, which is a Feshmel Menagerie list with Great Seer on Screaming Bell, a Brood Terror, 2 units of Rat Ogres, some Night Runners, a Plague Priest on Plague Furnace, 20 Clan Rats, and 2 units of 20 Plague Monks. This is becoming very common in Skaven lists, but it is not the only Skaven list that we've seen already do well this week. So they're so up there. Michael Rausch was running a list called Fireslayer Droths, which is a Fireslayer Skulls of Volcatrix list with Restless Energy Master Paths, with a Rune Father on Magmadroth, Rune Son on Magmadroth, a Rune Smiter on Magmadroth, then a Rune Master and a Rune Son, and 2 units of Hearthguard Berserkers, one with Berserker Broadaxes, one with Flame Strike Pole Axes, and then the Regiment Renown, the Skyport Profiteers. I did say in the FAQ update, I don't know how that's been not attacked in the update, but I guess they just really want to sell that Regiment Renown out to people. Anyway, congratulations to Mike. That's great. Both great results. And again, Fireslayers and Skaven in that top bracket. Very interesting. All right, so if we're going to look at the 4-1 section, it really opens up again as well. So Jack Carwood was running a Daughters of Cain Scath Coven list with Restless Energy Scouting Force, with a Bloodwrack Shrine, a soggy version, with a Reinforced Unit of Blood Sisters, which is a surprise, some Bloodstalkers, Cainite Shadow Stonkers, a Reinforced Unit of Heart Renders, and then an Iron Scale, and then 3 Reinforced Units of Blood Sisters. So moving away from the Witch Elves or the Sisters of Slaughter and moving into the Blood Sisters and seeing them 4-1 is a great result. However, Jake LeCure was running a list called Daughters of Cain Arena Veterans. Well, was running a Daughters of Cain list with Arena Veterans as the battle formation, with a Bloodwrack Shrine, 2 units of Heart Renders, and then a Slaughter Queen and Cauldron of Blood, 2 units of 20 Sisters of Slaughter with Bladed Bucklers, and then 20 Witch Elves, and then 20 Sisters of Slaughter with Sacrificial Knives, as well as Krethza the Crone Seer. So while they have less bodies than they previously did, they don't have no bodies, and they still did 4-1, and Jake's a great player. But also Jack has also shown that you can do something different with DOK as well. So, and neither of those two have just been relying on Marathi seeing play, which is interesting. So they have diversified. And again, the theme, I think at this point, I think it's fair to kind of review and say bodies on the board is the big win right now. So there we go. Then we've got Mike Van Eeps with a list called Uruk Warclan, or GT list ideas, with Uruk Warclan's Iron Jaws, Insect to Recover and Restless Energy, with a Tuskboss and Morgrunter and Morgrunter Gougers, Weird Knob Shaman, Our Boys and Brute Ragers that were reinforced, then a Mega Boss and Morcrusher, Reinforced Unit of Brute Ragers, Zogrok, and a reinforced unit of Brutes. So 4-1 for Iron Jaws is really fun. Maybe the points reductions didn't do anything more than just encourage Iron Jaws players to go put their armies on the tabletop. And maybe that's what we're seeing. Jeffrey Strubler was running a list called FEMA. I barely know her. Running OCR Bone Reapers and Mortars and Council with Inceptor and Restless Energy, with Catacross and Mortis Guard that were reinforced, Fort Martian and Stalkers that were reinforced, Soul Mason and Archive that were reinforced. I don't know who emailed all the OCR Bone Reapers players to remind them that they had armies that they could play, but they seem to have just literally emerged from the tombs. First half of this year, they didn't exist, and now they're just popping up. That's great to see. Michael Caldwell was running a list called IDK Michigan GT, which is an INET Deepkin ETC Predators list with Scout and Force and Master Paths, with an Aspect to the Storm, 2 Alapexes and a Leviathan, then an Oracle of the Abyss, Reinforced Morsar Guard, and then 2 Alapexes. Nothing can stop the Sharks right now. They're still there. Then Mitchell Jones was running a Seraphon Sunclaw Starhost list with Inceptor and Recover Restless Energy, with a Soggy Saurus Old Blood, then a reinforced unit of Agrodon Lancers, an Arcosotech, 2 units of Croxagore, and then Skink Starseer, Sunblood Pack, Hunt's Horde with Starstone Bowlers, and then some Saurus Warriors. And this is very much not what we saw from our other Seraphon list, which was very geared around Croak. And instead, this is just a bog standard kind of list without a Slan and without Croak. And that's crazy to me to see it do so well. So Mitch Jones, you're a champ. Andrew Lack was running a list called New School Ghouls Rule, You Fool, which is a Flesh Eater Courts Nightly Echelon list with Inceptor and Cover Restless Energy, with Ushran, Morbeg Knights, Gore King on Terrorgeist, Morbeg Knights, Gore Warden, Crypt Horrors that reinforced, Morbeg Knights, a Cardinal, and a Charnel Throne. There we go. Bodies on the board. FEC eating very well at the moment. And then Neil Alderman was running a list called Archeon 1-Drop, which is Slave Starters, Champions of Chaos. Archeon, Reinforced Unit Chaos Knights, 2 smaller units of Chaos Knights, Chaos Lord Demonic Mount. I got to say, there was an Archeon list last week as well, and there was an Archeon list pre the points update. I think it's time to finally declare Archeon is back. Put out the clarion call. Archeon's back. Congratulations to Neil for making it happen. Neil, you should be really proud of yourself. That's a fantastic result. Paul Hinderman was running a list called, and for my next trick, I'll show you the pilot, how to pilot this total ship power to a 5-0 record in 5 easy steps. Oh, so close. Running a Soulblight Gravelord's Bacchanal of Blood list with Restless Energy and Master Paths, with a Soggy Sekar, a unit of Barrow Guard, 2 units of Deadwalker Zombies, and some Direwolves. And then a Vampire Lord and Nightmare Steed, some Skirk True Blades, some Blood Knights, some Vargeese, and then the Regiment of Renown, the Skyport Profiteers. Oh, God. Okay, great. Again, very diverse roster. Skaven and Soulblight Gravelords, they're goal books. They're so good. Sean Clark, great human, running Skaven list with Gathering of the Clans, with Restless Energy and Scouting Force. Here's a Soggy Greyseer, Clan Rats, 2 units of Plague Monks, Master Molder, 2 units of Rat Ogres, and then a Greyseer and 2 Soggy Brood Terrors as well. Just look at how diverse the Skaven and SBGL rosters are. They're so out there. Also, the OCR Bone Reapers and also the FEC rosters as well. Generally, that whole section is very diverse. So, I mean, that's really, really interesting. But if we just take a moment to kind of like recapture this, Skaven and Fireslayers are eating well. DOK not hurt so much by the updates that they don't get 4-1s, even if they're played by fantastic players. Iron Jaws just out of nowhere. OCO Bone Reapers players reminded they exist. Deepkin, FEC doing well. Slaves to Darkness just being all over the place. Skaven still in there. And then, you know, this clutch Iron Jaws from Mike giving hope to the Big Green Boys. Great event, I'm sure. Hope everyone had a great time. I'd love to see it grow and keep growing every year. Our next event is also in the USA. It's called Dragonfall 2025, and it's organized by Isaiah, Mark, Tanya, and Timothy. But unfortunately, they haven't ended the round. So I'm not able to look at the placings, or they've been hidden, or whatever it might be. So I can't look at the list, and I can't shout out anyone who was there. And I'm very sorry about that. I apologize. I hope you all had a great time. I'm sure there would have been some spicy lists in there to look at. But there we go. Our next event is the End Times Grand Tournament taking place in Czechia in Europe. So we have at this event, we have 47 people, which is actually a fantastic amount of people. This community has grown and grown with just a very small group of people that initially went to a bunch of the events in the Netherlands. And then growing that community out so it's bigger and bigger all the time, which is just super good. So 47 people is a fantastic number, so you should be super happy with that. Organized by Jacobi Krundrat. Right, so if we go and look at the roster and kind of look at the placings, we've got cities in the undefeated bracket in first place. Then looking through the 4-1 section, we've got DOK, Deepkin, Skaven, Flesh Eater Courts, and Gits. Told you they'd make a comeback. Sylvaneth also up here as well. So Daughters of Cain doing well, even with those nerfs. Cities up here, Deepkin, Skaven, and Flesh Eater Courts. I think consistently Flesh Eater Courts have been the most successful this week so far. All right, so if we go and look at the Cities of Sigmar list, it's called End Times, and it's the Ironworld Guild Army with Intercept and Recover and Master the Paths, with Talia Vedra, 2 cannons, a steam tank commander, then a Cavalier Marshal, some Free-Go Cavaliers, some Cavaliers, a Free-Go Marshal on Griffin, Fusiliers, Ogre Warhawk, and some Hunters, and the Alchemite Warforger. So not what we expected to see. Didn't see like multiple command cores. You didn't see, and some Wildercorp Hunters as well. I think I did point those out for sure. So different to what we saw from Cities, but another Cities list, different to what you would have expected to see a while ago, but winning an event in a very tough meta. Amazing result. Well done to Peter. In the 4-1, we have the fantastic Natasha with a list called DOK is not dead, baby. DOK is not dead, baby. I'm trying to power her energy. Running Arena Veterans with Intercept and Recover and Wrathful Cycles. With Marathi, okay. Now we have our third way to play DOK now this week. Your third way, well done. With Cresta the Crone Seer, oh wow. Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood. Sisters, reinforced unit of Sister Slaughter ×2, and then a unit of Witch Elves that reinforced as well. Boom. There we go. You now have a third way to play Daughters of Cain, even after the points reductions, all hitting 4-1s. Pavel was running a list called Doobie Turby, which is an Idet Deepkin Achillean Beastmasters list with Restless Energy and Intercept and Recover, with the Aspect of the Sea, 2 Leviatons. Let's go. Reinforced unit of Morsar Guard, reinforced unit of Morsar Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another way to play Inet Deepkin as well. Double Leviathan. Let's go. Great armor save. Very fighty. Adam was running a Skaven list with Gathering the Clans with Gracier and Screaming Bell, 2 units of 20 Clan Rats, 6 Rat Ogres, a Vermlord Deceiver, 2 Brood Terrors, and then 4 Doom Flayers. 4 Doom Players in the list. Very fun. The Brood Terrors were obviously the soggy versions as well. The Gracier and Screaming Bell was soggy. That's a lot of board presence from the Clan Rats. That's a lot of moving around from the Deceiver. Skaven, again, with maybe their 5th or 6th iteration at the event of the list. And also shout out to Adam, who was the youngest player at the event. Shout out, Adam. Well done. Keep playing. You're doing great. And you're in a great community. Daniel was running a list called FEV V3, which is a Flesh Eater Courts Lords of the Manor list with a bunch of stuff that you would normally see. I don't think there's anything particularly outrageous. I think at this point, I might just skip through FEC lists. We've read enough. Jan was running a Knights of the Round Table Flesh Eater Courts list, Nightly Echelon with Usharan, and a bunch of stuff. Some Royal Beast Flares we don't see often, a Zombie Dragon. FEC are kings of the mountain, I would say. Now, Laszlo was running a Bootspike Gits Trogherd list called 2K Goblin Troll, with Master the Paths and Wrathful Cycle, with Trog, a Dankhold Trog boss, Rockgut Troggoth, and a Dankhold Troggoth, then Drogs, Rockgut Troggoth again reinforced, so 2 reinforced Rockgut units, and then a Scourgigran Spore Splatter Fanatics. Please take those if you're a Gits player. Play them and use them. They're good. And then again, that reinforced unit of Sunsealer Wheelers. This is your tech. These 2 units are your tech. These are going to score you points and deny your opponents points. You can have some real fun with this. Shout out to Laszlo. That's fantastic. Unfortunately, Gits players, you're going to have to play So there we go. And then we've got Dominic running a Sylvaneth Lords of the Clan list called 6 Dragonflies in a Dream with Incept to Recover and Master Pass with Alario. Okay, so now we have another way to play Sylvaneth as well, with a Soggy unit of Revenant Seekers, a Tree Lord, Soggy Drycha, Belthanos in the list. So this is the monster. This is the monster mash list with the Revenant Seekers brought in, which are now very in vogue. Great series of lists. I think we can really see now Flesh Eater Courts are established as being super strong. Soulblight Gravelord, super strong. Ocean Bone Reaper, super strong. Like, Death Faction's probably one of the strongest. Death and Destruction, maybe? I don't know. But City's out there still playing and using a different army. That's great to see. So I would say the health of the game is really looking cool. Our next event takes us to Germany for the Dresden Festspiel in AOS. That's definitely correct. Organized by Dario Groman. And the winner of the event was Dario Groman, winning his own event. Let's go. Fantastic. Running Sylvaneth Lords of the Clan. He had in his list... Oh, no. How do you find out the list on this website? Oh, God. Sorry, just some clarification before we go any further. Number one, Dario was not the person running the event. I got that absolutely wrong. It was instead, it was El Presidente, Madin Madman, and Gulliver. I had to create an entire account to go on this website and figure out what was going on. But I want to say a special thank you to Gulliver for pointing that out in the chat and making sure I got that right. Okay, so the Dresden Festival, that's what that word means, by the way, Festspiele. Dario was the winner, though, and his Sylvaneth list was, it was called Monster Mash, and it was Lords of the Clan with Alario, 2 units of Dryads, a Spirit of Earth through some Tree Revs, a Lady of Vines, a Warsong Revenant, Scourge Garan, Drycha, and Awaken Wildwood. Now, the real question is a Sylvaneth not just good, a Sylvaneth actually... too good? Are we starting to get into that conversation? Because our Sylvaneth popping up all the time. The answer could be a shout out to Dario. Also in the 4 and a draw section is Ogres, again, run by Jan. This is crazy. And this list is called These Cheeks Were Made for Clapping. I think it's the list from last week, which is a Morpath Menaces list with a Slaughtermaster, Reinforced Iron Guts, Reinforced Gluttons, a Soggy Garan Blaster, a Butcher, Noblars, a Gorger Manpack, a Mantrapper, and a Frost Saber as well. So, crazy to see them still. I mean, this is the third time. At this point, I might have to eat my words a little bit. Maybe Ogre's just better than they looked, which is pretty surprising. Okay, so if we go and look at 4 wins at the draw section, we have Caradron Overlords run by Eric Waller, running... the veteran ground troops, Restless Energy Master Pass with Brock, a frigate, 2 reinforced units of Sky Wardens, a reinforced unit of Salvagers, then a Null Chemist, 2 units of Arcanaut Company, and then a Gunstock Gun Hauler as well. So KO not out of the fight. They're still doing well. They're still hitting 4-1s. They're okay. Then our other 4-1 that we have is Yanis and running Slaves to Darkness again, making a comeback, running a list called Down With My Demons, which was... a Champions of Chaos list with Wrathful Cycles, Restless Energy, with a Demon Prince, a Chaos Knights Reinforced, another Demon Prince, a Chaos Lord and Demonic Mount, another Demon Prince, a Chaos Lord and Karkadrak, and a Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Crazy times. That is crazy to see. That is very interesting. So we now have a third way that we're potentially running Slaves of Darkness. This feels like it's very unique. Anyway, I hope everyone in Germany had a good time. That looks like a great event. And I hope you had fun. Let's go look at the next one. Our next event takes us to Poland for the Well of Mayhem #4 Grand Tournament for a total of 30 players battling it out, which is great. Always a very tough meta. Very smart players over in Poland. So Kuba won the event with Lumineth Realm Lords with a list called The Return of the Chad. With Incept and Recover and Master Path with Severith, Eleanor and Elathor, and also the Light of Althorian. And then Venari Blade Lords, Reinforced, and Venari Blade Lords, Cenarian Lightler, and then a Lore Seeker, the Luminor, and the Regiment Renown, the Saviors of Cinderfall. So there we go. So we've got more ways to play LRL, and they're doing well, which is not a surprise to me. Looking in the 4-1 section, we have Skaven, run by Krisyak, which was a list called Horada, or Horda, which was a Skaven Clawhold list with Attuned Garan and Scouting Force, with Vizic, 2 reinforced units of Clan Rats and a reinforced unit of Storm Vermin, a Soggy Great Seer on Screaming Bell, 2 small units of Clan Rats, Kritok, all in that list. Just a horde of rats. Obviously, Kritok and Vizic kind of keyed in with playing with those specific units. And this gives us maybe our 5th or 6th way of running Skaven and doing well with them right now. There you go. Overdark was running Sons of Behemoth and was running a list called Forced Out Bullies Enter the Bar to strike the lowly, trample the weak, and revel in riotous mirth. Perhaps for the last time before the women arrive and try to break it all. Sons of Behemoth take a tribe list with King Brod, a War Stomper Mega Gargan, a Beast Smasher Mega Gargan, and a Gatebreaker Mega Gargan. Great to see. Then you have, obviously that's a joke, and then you have Christoph running Sylvaneth. We need to talk about Sylvaneth. Running a list called, a word I can't say, I'm sorry. Running Sylvaneth, Wargrove with the Burgeoning, with Master Paths and Restless Energy, with Belthanos, Kurnoth Hunters with Great Bows, a reinforced unit. The Soggy Revenant Seekers that are reinforced as well. A Soggy Drycha, some Spite Revenants that are reinforced as well. Warsong Revenant, and a Branch Witch. At this point, I gotta say, Sylvaneth are really at that tippy top, or it feels like at least this week. Disciples of Tzeentch is our last 4-1, run by Grisbeck, running a Weird Flame host, and with Kairos, 2 units of Pink Horrors, a Lord of Change, Blue Horrors reinforced, Flamers reinforced, and the Godsmark Ascendant Demon Prince, which is crazy. So running a bunch of horrors in 2025 in this meta, that's mad to see. That's a great result in achieving that. I think that's very impressive. Great results there. Again, we're looking at Sylvaneth doing well. We're seeing Skaven. We're seeing LRL. These are definitely armies to watch out for. Our next event is called Bread or Dead 2025, and this takes us to Canada, specifically Richmond in Canada, organized by Dale Johnson. So shout out to him. Now, if we go and look at the placings, we can see we've got 150, Fred Smith running Sylvaneth. Chat, what's happening? And then the list is called I Swear to God If This Does Well, which is a Sylvaneth list called with Lords of the Clan as the battle formation, with Master Paths and Restless Energy. He's got a Lariel, a Scourge Garan Drycha, reinforced unit of Spite Revs, a Branch Witch, reinforced unit of Kurnoth Hunters with Great Scythes, and then Belthanos. So all of the 3 named characters with support from the Kurnoth Hunters running around, and the Spite Revs running around as well. I mean, Fred's a fantastic player, so no surprise there, but Sylvaneth, ladies and gentlemen, I think you need to start getting those models on the board. Colton Fitzpatrick is running a list called Gigan is the Best Kaiju, I Love My Idiot Son, which is a Cruel Boys Trophy Finger battle formation list with Inceptor and Recover Master of the Paths. He has Kragnos, Killer Boss and Court Tripper Vulture. He has a Scourge Garan Swamp Boss Scumdrek. He has Swamp Caller Shaman. He has Cruel Boys Monster Killers, Scourge Garan Killer Boss on Great Gnashtooth. And he has the Hurling Hogs, Tusk Boss on Morgrunter, and the Morgrunter Gougers. What more can we say about, again, even more ways to play this Cruel Boys army? You got Kragnos, you got Iron Jaws in here. Very interesting. Then we have Matthias Kuschel running, make sure I got this right. Yeah, Matthias Kuschel running a Carriage and Overlords list, running the Magnates crew battle formation. And the list name is, do you think KO wearing these full metal suits are like into it? Running Restless Energy and Master of the Paths. He has Brock, a Frigate, 2 units of Sky Wardens, a reinforced unit of Von Grimm Salvagers. All of those are reinforced. A Null Chemist, Engine Riggers, 2 Von Grimm Harpoon Crew on the 4-1. KO, you're in a good spot. You just don't have a 75% win rate, which is great. And Alex Butler was running a list, an Uruk Warclan's Iron Jaws list called Big Snickers, You're Not You When You're Hungry. Is this seriously where we're at? Iron Jaws, the Horde army. I think that's a great question, actually. Running Restless Energy and Wrathful Cycles, he's got Zogrok Anvil Smasher, a reinforced unit of Brutes, 2 smaller units of Brutes, a Soggy Weird Brute Wrecker unit, Weird Knob Shaman, another Soggy Weird Brute Wreckers unit, then a War Chanter, reinforced Ard Boys, 2 smaller units of Ard Boys in the list as well. That is a ton of armor saves and health on very good armor saves, 3-up armor saves, and you get some incredible output, and you got some good utility from Zogrok. Is that great question? That's an amazing question from Alex. Are Iron Jaws a Horde army now? answer that question for me. That's Bread or Dead. It's a great event. Happens every week. I think we've started to see FEC, Cruel Boys. Did I read out Taylor's list? Did I miss your list, Taylor? I did. I'm sorry, Taylor. I almost did mess that up. Taylor was running an FEC list called Judge Judy Redacted. They cost too much now, so we'll skip to the Guilty. Which is officially called Impassioned Serfs list with Usharan, 2 reinforced units of Crypt Guard and a reinforced unit of Crypt Horrors, and a Boron Cardinal, a Boron Ghoul King, a Royal Terrorgeist, a Royal Zombie Dragon as well. Sorry about that. So Flesh Eater Court's popping off again, Sylvaneth popping off again, Cruel Boys popping off again, KO in here, and Iron Jaws again. At this point, I guess maybe it's not a surprise, but can you get that many Iron Jaws on the board? Our next event is the River City Rumble, organized by Jake Bentrup in Missouri. In first place, you've got Dylan Gill with Flesh Eater Courts running a list called A Monster Mash, which was a Royal Menagerie battle formation list with Intercept and Recover Restless Energy, within a Boron Ghoul King Royal Terrorgeist, 4 Royal Terrorgeists, and a Boron Ghoul King or Royal Zombie Dragon. Big Monster Mash, big Monster Energy. I think this is, people have tried to make this happen already, but Dylan was able to make it work. Boom. There you go. We're in the monster meta. In the 4-1 section, we got Mark Kowalski with a list called Full Armada, which is Kharadron Overlords, Pioneers, and Scavengers list, with Engine Master and Engine Harness, Reinforced Arcanaut Company and an Ironclad, a Code Right, a Frigate. That's interesting, getting a Frigate and an Ironclad. Reinforced unit of Sky Wardens, some Volgrim Salvagers that reinforce as well, Arcanaut Admiral, and a Gun Hauler in the list. So KO still flying, and then Andrew Robinson with a list called the Fred, which is a Soulblight Gravelords list with manifestations, with Master Pass and Scouting Force in the Death March battle formation with Manfred, 2 units of Vargeists, a White King, a reinforced unit of Barrow Guard, 2 units of Death Rattle Skeletons, a White King, a reinforced unit of Barrow Guard, and then a White King on Skeletals, White Lord of Skeletal Steed, and some Barrow Knights as well. So just the actual zombie. Manfred, obviously super good for his ability for, well, a couple of his different abilities actually. But little MSUE, the double Barrow Guard list, I guess you can kind of compare to kind of a double Gut Rippers unit, I guess. But again, Soulblight Gravelords just out there doing stuff no one else is. So Soulblight Gravelords, Flesh Eater Courts, Death Faction reigning supreme right now in the meta. Our next event is in Lemoyne, organized by Jacob Wood, and it's the Lemoyne Last Stand 9. Fantastic picture of one of our generation's greatest actors. So if we look at the placings, in the first place, we've got 4 in a draw. We've got Derek Purnham with Disciples of Tzeentch, running a list called Something Where I Can Use Horrors as an Innuendo, which is a Disciples of Tzeentch Weird Flame host list with Restless Energy and Wrathful Cycles. It's got Kairos, 2 Kairos Spawns of Tzeentch, a Lord of Change, reinforced unit of Blue Horrors, and then a Gaunt Summoner, some Pink Horrors, and the Exiled one with Scarbrand. That's quite interesting. I like bringing Scarbrand in to provide some actual output as everything else just stands around on objectives and does tactics. It's very cool. It's very, very fun to see. Horrors, I'm surprised to see Horrors doing okay. But there we go. Maybe they're just a little bit better and safer now. In the 4-1 section, we have a list called Shameless Shrubbery, which is a Sylvaneth list, chat. With Restless Energy and Wrathful Cycles. We got Drycha, Reinforced Dryads, Warsong Revenant, Double Tree Revs, Spirit of Durthu, 2 units of Colonel Hunters, 1 with Sires that will reinforce, 1 with Great Bows, and a Branch Witch. And again, this is very different to the other Sylvaneth lists we've seen as well. So very fun. And then Ryan was running a list called A Raw Herd from Coast to Coast, a Slaves to Darkness, God's Wrath Warband army with Restless Energy, Intercept, and Recover, which is Archeon, Chaos Lord and Demonic Mon. That's right, Archeon is officially back. Chaos Knights, Raptrix, and the Exiled one. This Scarbrand ROR. People are doing it. We're getting Scarbrand in all sorts of lists. Exciting. Our next event takes us to Greece, one of my favorite communities. Shout out to the Demonic Pigeon Storm of Sigmar event with 18 people battling it out, organized by the Demonic Pigeons Gaming Club. If you get the chance to go play with them, you should. And also a special shout out to the top 4, who are all called George, which is pretty crazy. We only have 1 undefeated, and that's Georgios Moudastos, Malaka. But I just want to shout out one of my favorite people in the whole world, Giannis, in 10th place. Just a great dude. Just a great. Anyway. Right, our only undefeated is running Soulblight Gravelords with a list called Immortal Ego, with Incept and Recover and Restless Energy, with Vordry, 2 True Blade units, a Varghese, a Vampire Lord Nightmare Seed, a reinforced unit of Blood Knights, a Vengo Lord, 2 more units of a Skurgan, True Blades. Soulblight Gravelord so hot right now. The whole Death faction. Shout out to everyone in Greece. You're such a great community. Our next event takes us to China for the South China Autumn Championships organized by Wan Pang. I've definitely said that wrong. I'm really, really sorry. Okay, in first place, though, we've got Chris Chan with Ogre Moor Tribes. Not what I was expecting at all. With a list called Ogre Monster, which is an Ogre Moor Tribes Beast Handlers list with a Frostguard and Stonehorn, Huskguard and Stonehorn, 2 units of Stonehorn Beast Riders, Huskguard and Thundertusk, and 2 more units of Stonehorn Beast Riders. Now, this is a list you more expect to see versus like the Carson version where he's just leading the dad bod revolution across the world and people are running ogres. This is something you more would expect. So shout out to Chris. This is a great result. In the 4-1 section, we've also got Hua Hua running a Seraphon list called a Seraphon list using the Sunclaw Star Host battle formation with Master Path and Incept to Recover, with a Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur, the soggy version, Skinks and a unit of Raptidon Hunters. FYI, these are cheap. The charging versions. If I was a Seraphon player, I'd look at a lot of those. I'd skink max, is what I'm saying. Then I've got Saurus Scarfet on Agrodon, a reinforced unit of Agrodon Lancers, a reinforced unit of Agrodon Lancers, a Skink Starseer, an Engine of the Gods, and some Raptidon Chargers. Okay, let's go. And then we have Uncoin Zhu running a list, a Skaven list in the Flesh Meld Menagerie battle formation with Incept and Recover and Master Pass, with a Formidable Deceiver, Rat Ogres at Reinforced, 2 Soggy Brood Terrors, Warp Lightning Cannon, Greyseer, Plague Pack, Rattling Guns at Reinforced, and Warp Lightning Cannons. Incredible stuff. Amazing to see a bigger event in China. We're now up to 14 people playing at this event. We've had several events now in China, so the scene is growing. And obviously, with such a large population, it could get very big. So it'll be really fascinating to see what happens over the next couple of years with the Chinese community. Big shout out to you. I hope you're having a great time. Our last event takes us to Slovenia, where 14 people battled it out at the Amulet D20 Grand Tournament organized by Miha. If I've said that wrong, I'm very, very sorry. In first place, and our only 5-0, is Blaz Ravnikar with Sylvaneth, running Lords of the Clan with a Lariel, Belthanos, a Branch Witch, Tree Revenants, a Soggy Drycha, and then a Soggy Reinforced unit of Revenant Seekers. And that is it for today. First real weekend of the new Battlescroll, and there is absolutely tons to break down. Cruel Boys still doing great. Skaven, Soulblight Gravelords, Flesh Eater Courts, definitely Flesh Eater Courts. Sleeper Pick, but coming in super strong, Sylvaneth as well. I think I mentioned Skaven. Idet Deepkin showing themselves time and time again, doing really solid work. Occasional LRL. For some reason, occasional Iron Jaws, which I thought was pretty wild. Occasional Ogres as well. Whether or not this ends up being a trend, we'll have to see. I think that's really, really fascinating. KO were all over the place, but not like they weren't in the 5-0 section. They were kind of in that 4-1 tier. So maybe they got hit too hard. Maybe just people, like I said they were going to see kind of like players jump to different armies. We saw Oceot Bone Reaper players just remember they had armies and start playing, which I thought was pretty cool. Cheeky Sineshis here and there. The Khorne ROR featuring pretty heavily. The Karajan Overlords ROR featuring super heavily. There was some interesting Slaves to Darkness list with Slaves to Darkness jumping around and Archeon making a return. Archeon is officially back, which is wild to see. And just a huge amount of information from the weekend. But importantly, and if you have a final thing that we can take away from this, diverse meta, lots of armies see play, and importantly, lots of people out there playing games of Warhammer Age of Sigmar and having a good time. I think that's pretty good proof of a healthy, positive community playing Warhammer, and that's great to see. So I hope you've enjoyed the Stat Show. This has been a massive job today, with it being our biggest event since January. So I hope you've all enjoyed it. And if you've got any comments, please do leave in the bit below. And if you want to support me creating content, this is what I do for a job, and it would be awesome if you wanted to. You could join our community by joining me on Patreon. which would be cool as well if you fancy that, if you appreciate what I do. That's how you help me do what I do. So that'd be ace. I've said that about 5 times now, so sorry. Anyway, I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.